So Chris and I started like making our RX-7s faster and faster and faster, and nobody at the time was doing anything with those cars except for like dudes drag racing them in New York. So Chris's dad was like working in Asia, and we had some friends that were like into anime, and we saw like Initial D, and his dad started bringing us option videos, and we were like, oh, drifting. Like we're reckless idiot kids. Let's make our cars drift cars. And that's what we did for like a year on the street.
Holy shit.
And then like a year later, we met Matt Petty and started like the East Coast events. And then a year later, we were like doing Formula D.
That's fucking so crazy. What year was your first year in Formula D?
04.
So that
the first year.
The first year. It was the first year. Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
If you want to be a professional at something, it helps to start it the year they start.
Yeah, get in on the ground floor.
Yeah. That's a good piece of life advice right there.
If you're the fourth employee at Facebook, you are the fourth smartest person at Facebook.
It's true.
Even if you're
here, man.
You're a fucking idiot.
Yep.
Oh, that's fucking crazy.
Was that Club Loose?
Club
right?
Loose. Yeah, it was called DG Trials back then, but yeah, same thing. Same guy.
I shot a thing there, and I got to ride with Gabe Correa.
Okay, yeah, I know Gabe.
And you know, when he was 14, and I was like, "How long have you been driving?" He's like, "A month."
Yeah,
and that's driving drift cars, not on the street, of course.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Of course, the kid could slay.
Yeah,
it's so
fun. He's been
out
around
there.
it forever. I mean, I've even known him since he was like 8 or something. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
a little nothing. So
wow.
Yeah.
So you were like not patient zero, but something like
Close,
that.
Basically, yeah, right?
Yeah, we're like just doing stupid drift stuff. We were making our cars wound up being pretty fast. Like we started street porting them and putting TO4s on them and stuff, and they were like 12.0 cars probably run around Bucks County farm roads.
The RX-7s?
The RX-7s were.
Yeah.
They were
Did
pretty
those
nasty.
become the first FD cars? Your first FD cars?
My first FD car was Chris's. I bought Chris's RX-7, and his parents had got him like a Z, and then like he did a bunch of stuff.
Oh
to
yeah,
it. And
he went straight to Z's, right?
Yeah, well he went. Yeah, like he got picked up by Signal, and he had that Z, and like they worked it up and whatever. But
who won that first season? Who was champ that first season? Oh, Sam Hubenet, yeah.
He won every event except for Irwindale.
Really?
Because Forsberg beat him in that Z. Nobody would have beat him. It was nuts.
Sam Hubenet is a very good driver.
He's a good driver, but he was in a tube frame car, and it was not cool. It was super not cool. It was super not cool.
What was his car?
I mean, Sam can drive his ass off.
What was his car?
It was like a GTS-R Viper. It was like
the
a
Viper,
real,
right? Yeah,
it was not cool. I had like a 300 horsepower RX-7, and this dude had like the nastiest.
Wasn't he in the Viper that kept racing with like 7 different drivers after him? Like, it became the village bicycle of cars.
I drove it at one point. Yeah, I tested with him afterwards.
Was it fun?
It was pretty cool. It had a shorter, like, huge burst of power, but really narrow for what it was. I thought it would like rev more or something, but yeah, it was pretty well sorted.
Yeah, it's. I mean, any car that can fucking run 18 seasons in Formula Drift is like, yeah, that thing is that's a champion. That car.
Yeah.
What was it like the first season when you went from really quickly too, from like let's watch these videos about this new sport that we've just discovered through a fucking cartoon, really, and then what? 2 years later, you're like
we're American pro drifters. Yeah, it was wild, dude.
And how old are you at the time?
Like 23 or something. Yeah, and all I ever wanted to do was race cars. But I was also like a complete obnoxious dickhead and like burned all of my bridges and was like a total lunatic. Like I just thought like, oh, I'm in Motley Crue. You guys I'm the shit. You guys don't understand I'm the shit here. And like they're clearly like, do you want to be this? And I was like, yes, I was meant for this. So everybody get out of my fucking way. I'm like, get out of my fucking way and like tell me where the bar is. So yeah, it's a bummer. Like I sort of squandered some of those opportunities and it's fine. It all worked out in the grand scheme. But like, it was wild. It was wild because everyone was figuring it out on the way. Like the judging was getting figured out, and like Formula D was figuring out tracks on the go. Like everyone was like really collaborating to make it happen.
That's crazy.
Except for me, who was like kicking windows out of rental cars and shit and being a moron.
You're like, no, I'm great. You guys figure this out.
You guys do. No, I was helping.
I'll be at the bar.
I think drifting is super cool even now. You know, like I said, my car I'm building right now is a drift car. But yeah, it was wild. It was very cool to be like right on the bleeding edge of that stuff and just being a part of it.
That was so exciting.
It was really exciting. Yeah, it was so weird. They were like, I was like, cool. So like this super random thing, because everyone in America was like Hondas and like car show culture and like eclipses and all that. That was all import anything. Oh, yeah. That's all they wrote about and super.
The Funkmaster Flex Celeb car
all
show.
Of it,
Remember
all
that shit
of it.
in North
Yeah,
Jersey?
it's all it was. Yeah, it's all there was. And like, you know, it was like rave culture and stuff and like hot import nights. And we were like, yeah, that's not, we were like, you know, we were like tattooed BMX kids and we were like, this is not us. And we were into drifting and drifting felt very counterculture to all that stuff. And then like, honestly, it was like, we met this kid, Matt Petty. Me and him went to the owner of Englishtown thought we get laughed out of the room. He was like, I love it. Let's do 10 events the first year.
Wow.
Kids showed up like crazy immediately, and then there was a D1 driver search like the first year, and we put our, and there was they were like, a guy from Wired magazine wants to go out with you guys, and we were like, what does that even mean? Like, so we did, and we were in like Charles Graber.
Oh yeah, I actually know that guy.
Yeah, he's cool as shit. And we were like just idiot kids. Like the story was gonna be
good on fucking Charles and Wired magazine.
It was incredible
to find that so fast.
It was nuts, dude.
Yeah,
and we were like, essentially the whole story was gonna be like, we lived in like a drift flop house. You know what I mean? Like ordering parts in Japan and like
it's an
flipping.
Incubator, please.
Yeah,
it's called
whatever.
an incubator.
Yeah. You know, there was like turbos in the sink, and like we were like, you know, partying our asses off, and like,
God damn, there's a reality show in this, huh?
Flipping burgers on the weekend, and then like building our drift cars. So
there absolutely would have been a show in this.
Yeah,
100%.
Or a great skate video. Something like you know, skate, but just replace skating with drifting.
Yeah, pretty much. That's all we did.
That's rad. That sounds so fun.
It was super fun.
Fucking
and then
mayhem.
like we were like, hey, we're gonna go try to join this Japanese league, and he was like, I'm gonna come to that. And we're like, okay. And then like the article came out, and it was a big deal. It was like the first mainstream drifting thing. It was cool.
And did you guys go to Japan and then try to compete? Sorry, not
no, they brought the
okay.
D1 pros here. Again, like these are dudes I never thought I would see in my life. Like, you know, Team Orange and
Team Orange was Subaru.
Like guys you saw in the fucking imported video and the weird VHS fucking shits.
Kaguchi, and some of the guys are cool as shit. Like Kaguchi is cool as shit.
Yeah.
It's like jean jacket, cigarette, radical. And I was like, I'm gonna hang out with that guy. And like we became bros, and I was like, that's
amazing.
Nuts. So yeah, it was just a wild ride, and it was really cool. And we had some great, you know, we had some really like sponsors that jumped right on, and like we had some wild fun times.
Has the driving? I mean, of course, it's changed a lot. Like, we talked to Forsberg for a while. Like the cars have obviously evolved a lot.
Yeah.
Was everyone just figuring out the driving, or did you watch as many of like the Drift King videos as you could, and then?
We didn't watch like the Drift King stuff. We kind of figured it out on our own, and then to be honest, I think American drifting now, all drifting now, is like based out of the like Northeast style of like super committed, super over the top, super smoky, like all that. It's like
as opposed to the more ballet type
more
style of the Japanese guys, a little less smoky, lower power kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I think like we kind of helped establish like more American style. But yeah, we just figured it out. But it also like, you know, we all had like the kid like. My best buddy was Forsberg, so like he's incredible. So we all pushed each other. You know what I mean? Like Vaughn was already coming to the events, and Turk was coming to the events in like 2003. So we all were just like, who can do this? And it was like very much like, I can do this. Can you do that? Like he was like, you know, pushing each other constantly. So it was a bunch of good dudes just pushing super hard.